Hello friends, I am Guru, working as Assistant Professor in Institute Technology, College of Engineering in Civil Engineering Department. This is module number 5, lecture number 1. In this slide, we are going to see the town planning schemes and how they operated under the two acts, namely the Bombay Town Planning Act 1915 and Maharashtra Regional and Town Planning Act 1966. It is called MRTP Act 1966. This slide refers to legislation in India which covers or uses the Bombay Town Planning Act 1950. The preparation of town planning schemes for areas in course of development within the jurisdiction of local authority and the recovery by planning authority of betterment contribution from the owners of benefited lands. It was observed that the town planning schemes prepared under this act resulted in the piecemeal planning having no relation with the adjoining areas, and to have a planned development of every square inch of the land within the municipal limit, the need for new law was needed, and that is MRTP Act. The MRTP Act 1966 promotes and regulates development in the urban area as well as areas having potential of being unurbanized. So in this slide we are going to see what are the objectives of Maharashtra Regional and Town Planning Act 1966. The objectives are to make provision for planning the development and use of land in regions established for that purpose and for the constitution of regional planning boards. Similarly, to make better provision for the preparation of development plan with a view to ensure that town planning schemes are made in proper manner and their execution is made effective. To provide for the creation of new towns by means of development authorities. Also, to make provision for the compulsory acquisition of land required for public purposes in respect of the plans and for purposes connected with the matters of procedure. So, in this slide, we are going to see what are the salient features of Maharashtra Regional and Town Planning Act 1966. The features are provision for regional planning, development plan, town planning schemes, and implementation of schemes, that is land acquisition, transfer of development rights and plot reconstitution techniques. Similarly, the financial aspect, governance for plan enforcement, that is by the planning authority. Similarly, the MRTP Act includes details such as agency for planning, matters to be included in the various plans, procedure laid down from starting of work to the time plans are finalized, as well as control over the development. Hello friends, I am Guru, working as Assistant Professor in Institute Technology, College of Engineering in Civil Engineering Department. This is module number 5, lecture number 1. The Maharashtra Regional and Town Planning Act 1966 has been exclusively concerned with the orderly development and use of land and compulsory acquisition of land in conjunction with the Land Acquisition Act. Average time taken for completion of town planning schemes in Maharashtra has been 15 years, and use of Land Acquisition Act is made mandatory. The MRTP Act 1966 covers state and urban regional planning board. State, urban and regional planning board constitute and appoint for the purpose of carrying out the function assigned to it under this act. The board shall consist of a chairperson, a vice chairperson and not more than 23 members to be appointed by government. The function of the board consists of the board should have advise the government in matters related to policy formulation for planning. Secondly, the development and implementation of state programs and use of rural and urban land in state. Guide, direct and assist metropolitan and district planning committee on matters on respective areas. And finally, take account for various regions in the state for achieving special economic development and social justice. This slide refers to the development plan. For a successful town planning, there must be a plan which envisages the entire town as a single unit. The development or expansion of a town takes a long time, and therefore the development is required to be controlled at any time on the basis of plan. Such plan is called as development plan or master plan. The development plan is generally prepared to improve the old condition of the town, but it is also equally necessary for the new cities to be planned and built on virgin land. For example, New Delhi, Gandhinagar and Chandigarh, etc. A development plan is an ideal plan showing the full development of town at some future date. This slide refers to objectives of development plan. It arranges the pattern of a town in such a way that to satisfy the present requirement without introduction of future improvement by the coming generation. Secondly, restricting hazard and unplanned growth. Development plan brings harmony and understanding between the different group of people. It removes the defect of uncoordinated physical growth. The development plan serves as a guide to the planning body for making any recommendation for public improvement. Also, the DP plan stimulates wider interest in community problems. Development plan coordinates the physical, economic, social and political forces that govern the structure of the community. And finally, the development plan formulates long-term and short-term action program with a view to injecting long-term consideration into short-term actions. So in this slide, we are going to see what is the necessity of development plan. Generally, it is denoted by DP to control the development of various industries in a systematic way. Also, to discourage the use and unscientific way of growth. It serves as an overall picture and program for the future development to offset the evils which have come up due to overcrowding of population, such as acute shortage of houses, traffic congestion, inadequate open spaces and insufficiency in public amenities, etc. So, in order to prepare the development plan, data to be collected contains the details of trade and industries, development of airports, environment of site, facilities of transport, geological condition of the site, land uses and land use pattern. Similarly, location of spots of natural beauty, location of water supply units and meteorological details such as intensity and direction of wind, temperature, rainfall, etc. Then mineral resources, places of historical origin, political position of the surrounding area, population, then the requirement for railway stations, good yards and shipping facilities, special requirement for powerhouses, gas works, sewage disposal plant and storm water drainage. So after getting the details of the data, development plan is to be prepared and drawing is to be prepared, which should include the boundaries of land of different types such as residential, agricultural, industrial, etc. Boundary of green belt around the town. Similarly, it should show contours of whole city, different zones in the city, landscape features which are available, location of public buildings and town centers should be highlighted, open spaces including parks and playgrounds should be shown, position of natural springs, rivers and streams are also highlighted, position of public utility services such as water supply station, sewage disposal plant, power plant, etc. are to be highlighted, and present and proposed communication system is to be shown in the development plan. Whenever the development plan is to be prepared, we are supposed to provide amenity, convenience and health. That is, we have to follow the principle of town planning. Convenience and cheap means of transport should be incorporated. Good sanitation and water supply should be provided. Open air spaces, population density control, proper situation for places of worship, education and recreation is to be allocated. Rational layout is to be prepared. Requirement and distribution of land as per the land use pattern is to be prepared. Width of road should be mentioned. Then in this slide we are going to see what are the different stages of preparation of development plan. Generally, methods normally followed for the preparation are: first stage is planning department for the local government. Second step is specialized planning organization. Third is a consultant. Fourth is state town planning department. Fifth is collection of data and relevant information from civic survey and other sources. Then preparation of tentative draft of the development plan and notifying the same for comments, suggestion and discussion from expert and the public. Then consideration of views received from expert and the public with sympathy and without any prejudice. Next step is preparation of revised development plan, accommodating the good aspect of comment received from the expert and public. And finally, determination of the sequence in which the development plan will be implemented. These are some stages of preparation of development plan. In this slide, we are going to see what is the neighborhood planning. Neighborhood, it is a small unit which serve the local community and encouraged them to foster a neighborhood spirit or relationship which seems to have been lost in modern life. Then neighborhood planning. Neighborhood planning is to organize neighborhood residents and seek their input throughout the planning process. Hello friends, I am R.M. Garud, working as Assistant Professor in Share Technology, College of Engineering in Civil Engineering Department. This is module number 5, lecture number 1. The neighbors are not dependent on one another company and aid because city life gives a wide field of acquaintance and entertainment. The neighbors may not have a common modes and habit of living. The neighborhood planning is an attempt to form various physical units of residential areas in which people belonging to a particular rank of life settles or stays. It is the intention of a town planner to originate the valuable idea of neighborhood which have been lost in busy, uncontrolled city life. All the residential units are now planned on neighborhood principle. It is a small unit which serves the local community and encourages them to foster a neighborhood spirit or relationship which seems to have been lost in the modern city life. Further, it should possess the best qualities of small town to facilitate the acquaintance and neighborliness relations and also be broad enough to accommodate sufficient people to enable each individual to come in contact with people of different strata of society and compatible taste, that is, unity in diversity. This slide refers to purpose of neighborhood planning. It includes to make the people socialize with one and another. Also, to enable the inhabitants to share the public amenities and recreational facilities. Also, to support a safe and healthy environment within the neighborhood. The purpose is to provide safety and efficiency to road users and pedestrians. To maintain, enhance and improve area for recreational activity are the purposes of neighborhood planning. Similarly, to determine community's prospect for the future is also one of the purpose of neighborhood planning. This particular slide refers the interrelationship between the different elements of neighborhood planning. It includes residential facilities, commercial facilities, health facilities, road network and recreational facilities. So these are the various elements of neighborhood planning. So in this slide we are going to see what is the necessity of development plan. Generally it is denoted by DP, to control the development of various industries in a systematic way. Also to discourage the use and unscientific way of growth. It serves as a neighborhood principle is size, in which the town is divided into self-contained units or sectors of 10,000 population. This is further divided into smaller units called neighborhood unit with 2000 to 5000 based on the requirement of one primary school. The size of the unit is therefore limited to about 1 to 1.5 square kilometer, that is within walkable distance of 10 to 15 minutes. In this slide we are going to see the other principles, that is boundaries. The unit should be bounded on all its sides by main roads wide enough for traffic. Then protective strips. These are necessary to protect the neighborhood from annoyance of traffic and to provide suitable facilities for developing parks, playgrounds and road widening schemes in future. These are also called as minor green belt. Another principle includes internal streets. The internal streets are designed to ensure safety to the people and the school-going children in particular, since the mothers are anxious every day till the safe return of the child. The internal street should circulate throughout the unit with easy access to shops and community centers also. So in this slide we are going to see what are the salient features of Maharashtra Regional and Town Planning Act 1966. The features are provision for regional planning, development plan, town planning schemes, and implementation of schemes, that is land acquisition, transfer of development rights and plot reconstitution techniques. Similarly, the financial aspect, governance for plan enforcement, that is by the planning authority. Similarly, the MRTP Act. In this slide we are going to see the town planning schemes and how they are operated under the two acts, namely the Bombay Town Planning Act 1915 and Maharashtra Regional and Town Planning Act 1966. It is called MRTP Act 1966. The Maharashtra Regional and Town Planning Act 1966 has been exclusively concerned with the orderly development and use of land and compulsory acquisition of land in conjunction with the Land Acquisition Act. Average time taken for completion of a town planning schemes in Maharashtra has been 15 years, and use of Land Acquisition Act is made mandatory. So in this slide we are going to see the structural plan. The term structure here means social, economic and physical system of an area, not any structural RCC structure. A structural plan is one that singles out for attention of certain aspect such as pattern of land use and the development activities they give rise to, and network of communication, location of critical facilities and buildings, distribution of the population. Then the structure plan aims to influence certain key decisions. The structure plan will need to take account of regional and national policies also. The structural plan for an area will be integrated with the structure plan for adjoining areas also. It means that aims, policies and proposals in a structural plan must be coordinated with those for the adjoining areas. All the residential units are now planned on neighborhood principle. It is a small unit which serves the local community and encourages them to foster a neighborhood spirit or relationship which seems to have been lost in the modern city life. Further, it should possess the best qualities of small town to facilitate the acquaintance and neighborliness relations, and also be broad enough to accommodate sufficient people to enable each individual to come in contact with people of different strata of society and compatible taste, that is, unity in diversity. So, in order to prepare the development plan, data to be collected contains the details of trade and industries, development of airports, environment of site, facilities of transport, geological condition of the site, land uses and land use pattern. Similarly, location of spots of natural beauty, location of water supply units, and meteorological. Further, it is stated that the growing urbanization, that migration and economic development generates the need for controlling the urban sprawl and providing infrastructure and services in a planned manner. According to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, nearly 70% of the world population will be living in urban areas by 2050. This means that most of the resources and activities will concentrate in cities. Today, cities occupy 0.5% of the world's surface but uses 75% of its resources. With urbanization increasing at a rapid pace and on a global scale, city managers are facing pressing challenges: a lack of infrastructure, environmental pollution, traffic congestion, waste disposal, and disaster response. Countries need to address these issues swiftly to ensure a better future with the support of sustainable development. So in this slide we are going to see what is the basic concept of TP schemes. The basic concept of TP scheme is to pull together all the land, typically ranging from 100 to 200 hectares under different ownerships, and redistribute it in a properly reconstituted form after carving out the required land for open spaces, social infrastructure, services, housing for the economically weaker section of the population, and the road network. In this method, the Public Planning Agency or Development Authority temporarily brings together a group of landowners for planning under the aegis of State Level Town or Urban Planning Act. This process enables the Development Authority to develop land without fully acquiring it and gives it positive control over the design and growth of the peri-urban areas. Thank you friends for patient listening.